I'm delighted with this one because when automated is done well, it's mind-blowing. And the name gives it away because Amy Wright is Head of Strategy at Automated Creative. And we know, and I think there's nobody better placed to talk about how automated can be done well. Amy, over to you.
Hi everyone, thank you for having me today. I'm the Head of Strategy for Automated Creative. And we're going to get a bit weird, so starting off. This is what AI thinks healthcare professionals look like. Right. To be fair though to it, I gave it the prompt of slightly superior doctor types. And the reason for all this and looking at this is there's a fantastic book by Matthew Syed that talks about healthcare as being a closed loop system. So what do we mean by that? It's a system and an industry that kind of prizes and idolises the individual. And the knock-on impact of that is that it's very, very bad at working out when it's doing things wrong. So quite often mistakes will be chalked up to the individual or glossed over. So patients will hear things like, oh, this was never going to happen, this is kind of a one-off kind of thing. It's not part of an institutionalised pattern because they're not analysing their data sets. So what I want to do and talk about today is how we take a closed-loop system and open it up, how we use technology and automation as the kind of key process by which systems. But really importantly, it's not about making bad systems that already exist faster, cheaper. It's about fundamentally changing the underlying processes that help govern those things. So let's look at our own industry. A little bit less life and death, so that's a good place to start. But we're all under increasing pressures. So whether we are clients, whether we're media agencies, whether we're recruiters, everybody wants more for less money, faster, and actually better as well, because the competition is just getting more and more extreme. We've all got lots and lots of different things that kind of lead into those pressures, but we're all basically just trying to do the best job that we can under increasing challenges and pressures from every single angle. So when I came into the industry, this was kind of thrown down my throat repeatedly working in the creative industries. It's the production triangle of dreams, and you can only ever have two of these things. Increasingly, it's being cheap and fast because they're kind of the bare minimum that they get you in the door. That just makes you part of the playing field. The thing that keeps suffering at the moment is good, because we're not focusing on how to make things better. We're using automation or we're using existing systems to make things cheaper and faster, which is great. But are we actually kind of sense checking that bigger thought about, are we putting the right things in the first place? So I would suggest that paid advertising right now is a closed loop industry. So very similarly. How that looks like from a creative point of view, it's kind of this system. So thinking about how creative works, we have somebody comes up with this big mega idea, they make lots of decisions, they make all those kind of guesses up front. That all happens before it touches a consumer or it goes anywhere near part of the kind of market in which it exists. We then push it out to lots and lots of different platforms. There's huge amounts of incredible technology that work in the media space to verify, are we putting it in the right place, is it kind of going in the right context? Are we actually sense checking what we're putting in the first place? No. So at the end of it, hopefully you have a campaign that works really successfully, and if you do, you're kind of like, cool, great, and you move on from there. The worst case scenario is it doesn't work at all, and you actually don't have any kind of data or backing on the side of it to go, well, why didn't it work? So you're actually wasting money twice. You have a campaign that doesn't work, but you haven't interrogated that system. You're thinking like a healthcare professional, you're not understanding what are those institutional failings that have gone into that process to make something better for the next time. So don't use automation to kind of make those broken models and make those broken systems faster. You're just going to amplify them. Automation at its heart just amplifies something that already exists. It doesn't change a system, it just does it better and quicker, typically. So if we put that into the existing system, we amplify all of the worst qualities that make the industry bad. So, courtesy of Darby, we get creative directors who are very smug and kind of working on those instincts. I love that it's placed God on the t-shirt, you know, it's that guesswork approach, it's going, I know best and I'm not listening to those other signals to tell me otherwise. Or to poke fun at my own strategy directors who sit around, again, being
I'm
quite
looking around the room, just seeing if we've actually got here.
I've been in meetings with all of these guys. But it's kind of that mansplaining of the idea of, oh, right, this is exactly why it's working. So to your point, looking at, we're kind of scratching our heads to work out why the creative works. We're not actually going, I know empirically why it's worked because I've proven it and I've tested it over a period of time. So we need to be using automation to build better systems up front. So pop quiz time. Throw it open. Anybody in the room know what this is? And I've blurred out keywords that will help you, so. Oh, yeah, in the corner?
I think that's the black box.
Round of applause for this man. Not going to ask how you know that.
Johanna knows everything.
He does.
So first thing first, the black box isn't a black box, it's a weird orange cylinder type thing that exists. So this is coming back again to Matthew's book, which I can now reveal is called Black Box Thinking. And he points to the aviation industry as being the complete opposite to the healthcare industry. So again, similarly life or death circumstances, don't really want to crash a plane, but the people involved in the industry, pilots, are not kind of put forward on a pedestal as the be-all and end-all of all the decision making. Aviation is really conscious about recording all types of data, not just in crash scenarios, but everything that they do gets recorded, and it gets analysed, and insights are drawn from that. And the reason for doing that is that the whole industry has this really open culture of sharing data. Pilots physically cannot be punished if they report mistakes they make within a week of making them, because it's more important to learn from those mistakes than it is to kind of hide them and not have that kind of experience. So, arguably, this is the type of model we want to be looking at. How are we using data and tech to fundamentally transform our industry as a whole and look at things a lot more critically and also share that data back and learn and get better from it. So introducing AC, Automated Creative. So we have been doing for 5 years exactly that. Think of us as the orangey black box cylinder thing of the marketing industry. We are using technology to critically examine creative, produce lots of it at scale, and fundamentally rewrite the processes by which our industry is governed from a creative standpoint. So our mission, the reason we get up in the morning, is to unite creativity with automation to optimise media performance. So as well as all those amazing systems that can look at media placements and understand that side, we're looking at the creative inputs up front. And essentially what we're trying to get to is using our methodology to remove that guesswork, so take away that gut instinct and actually ground it in some data and some reporting. So if you remember this kind of marketing quoting system, ego, black being creative, that type of thing, this is what we do. So instead of taking that one hypothesis, we're actually running lots and lots of things at scale from the beginning. We can only do that because of automation, so we use that to help generate creatives at scale much faster. But we're not making assumptions up front. We're putting it to the market, finding out what's actually working, getting the insight and data back using our proprietary tagging software, and then we go back again, and we just keep testing things, and we keep iterating, and we keep blowing out that process. The other massive advantage of doing this is that we don't have to make decisions that close down our thinking and our world. Typically with creative, when you've got that one big safe bet, people will only ever run the safe option. By running more scale, we can bake in more diversity, we can bake in wider types of ideas, and it's when things get really exciting, because actually, most of the time, we find the things that we predict that are going to work, that gut instinct, actually don't, and actually it's the more exciting, more creative, more funny types of creative that actually do a lot better for us. So every ad that we should be running should be increasing our consumer intelligence on the back of it. Because we want better performance, so whatever the KPI and metric is awareness, view-through rate, or even down to conversion, we want to make that work as hard as possible, get the most out of our media investment. We then want to create an insight product on the back of it that tells us how to do things better next time. We can brief that into creative teams and it becomes a product that stands by itself as well. And equally, we can scale that production. So making sure that we're sweating assets, that we're not just producing one-off TV commercials that we never live anywhere else. We're using all of those different types of assets. We can easily localize things, scale for different platforms, make 916s, 11s, all of the different sizes that we need in all the different formats. Essentially what we're trying to do is open up that closed loop thinking into an open loop thinking And it's getting from which ad is working best into this space where we're talking about why the ads are working and why creative is working. So clients say lovely things about us. Gushy, 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 exciting, no study slide. It's better, and also no relation, I should probably flag that. So what we did, he's my brother from London. So what we did for Lydia was we took existing brand assets, it's a really simple version of creative, just to kind of get the point across. But we tested lots of different messaging themes, lots of different consumer motivations. We found out what worked and drastically improved the performance of their digital campaign. But importantly, the brand then took that insight, rolled it out across their ATL placements as well. And not only did we drive marketing gains, but we drove business gains. They had huge share gains over the period that our campaign was live because they based it in that insight. And as you can see, thinking back to that kind of marketing triangle again, we've got awesome performance, insights, faster, quicker, cheaper. We're kind of covering all of the bases there, which is a really exciting place to be. Similarly for Mars Pet Care, bottom of the funnel this time, we're massively increasing the conversion metrics. So the fact that clients are kind of identifying not just again the value and the speed of automation, but looking at actually the quality of the product and the process being transformed, that is the place that gets really, really exciting for a client. We kind of think everyone sort of deserves that. At the moment, it's clients that are kind of driving this change. We are Switzerland in the process. We sit between that kind of media and creative discipline. We work with media agencies, we work with creative agencies, we work with clients, but it's clients that are actually pushing forward this change at the moment. They're the ones that are demanding better results. And I'd love to say that those are kind of our best-in-class case studies. They're kind of not. They're sort of the basic results that we tend to get across most things that we work on. So if that's what clients are demanding, if that's the sort of repetitive metrics we can drive every time we run, agencies kind of need to speed up a little bit and actually start thinking about how they themselves are integrating this into their processes. So it's really simple to do, and this is kind of how it rolls out. So we work with lots of different creative agencies and teams. It might be internal teams, it might be a kind of true agency. They'll still do that human bit of producing kind of the big creative idea or the platform on which we're working. But what we can do is then take those assets, combine it with other work with influencers, stock imagery. We're doing some experimentation with synthetic using gaming engines at the moment, which is really exciting as well. Putting that through our system. We then audit everything using AI, but we create human-based marketing data strategies off the back of that. We're taking that critical look of going, what are the expansive things that we can be testing here? Unlike a DCO, we're not trying to close down to the smallest possible version and run that forever because it will fatigue. We're trying to get a platform by which we can keep generating new creative. We run ads at scale to do that, push it out automatically to the media agencies, and run it into different platforms. But that's when the exciting kind of bit happens with the insight loop. We don't just set and forget the campaigns, we're pushing it back in, and we keep repeating this process, so we keep iterating on creative and keep blowing it out even further. When it gets really exciting is when we take this kind of insight loop and bring it back into the creative agencies and teams. Because we can give them profiles to say, hey guys, this type of audience loves this type of messaging better, this type of audience actually is responding much better to this type of visual code or imagery. We can give them the data points that helps them prove their arguments to clients, makes the clients buy more provocative work, and everybody wins off the back of that. So open loop automation is a massive, massive opportunity for creative, but it is going to become a non-negotiable. We've seen it kind of proliferate the media side. It's coming to creative, and we need to be a lot more critical about how we use it. But we can't understand to not understand we can't afford to not understand the why behind everything that we're doing. We need to be a bit more critical and be a much more open industry. Be a lot more like aviation and a lot less like healthcare. So I'll pause there for any questions if anyone's got any so far.
Thank you. I just got to say this one thing, and it's really, so I'm going to stand in front here. Amy showed me this, or I think it was Tom actually showed me this whiskey ad. And this, what it proved is that the creative team had obviously done their work and obviously showed that they thought it was Happy Father's Day, it was Happy Birthday, it was all about the dad, it was etc. And the system that AC used was able to go back to the creative agency and went, no, it's I'm sorry. That's what sells more whiskey. And I think it's about that, automate what works, not what you think works, based on your either arrogance. There's a lot of very arrogance in our industry, and I love that. So sorry, Sam, coming to your question.
What are the biggest challenges you're seeing at the moment with let's say I'm a client and I've got DB360. It might make it something creative in the future, right? So how do you see yourself being competitive with that sort of change in the future? Because all of these platforms are probably going to have their own AI to make these sort of creatives in real time, right? So Google Shopping, for example. So how do you compete with that in the long term?
Yeah, that's a really, really great point. So I think it's a theme that you're seeing across the day-to-day, that it's humans paired with machines that tend to relate to the best results. I have got slides and decks and slides of the worst ad creative I have ever seen that has been created by automated DCO machine-based processes. Weird pack shots, lines skewing off everywhere. So we take that kind of creative agency and marketing rigor, make something that is aesthetically designed, feels beautiful, and has designers involved in that part of the process. So all of that kind of upfront thinking, the strategic output, that's the bit that we do as humans. We then use our machines to help us do that better. So we're a creative services platform, so it should be that the technology is the starting point, not the end point. And I think that's the biggest mistake that we tend to see being made at the moment. So I think there's always going to be the need for that kind of human element to help govern it. I think we'll get better and better at changing those parts of the process. But yeah, I can definitely show you some credit that's been the pits.
Yeah, because I love that too. I think it's really, really cool.
I mean, I love it for just trolling people. So right now.
Thank you, Sam. Any other questions that we've got for Amy before we move on to the last panel? I think the big takeaway there, Amy, is automate what works. We have the power, we can unite, but we need to automate what works, not what doesn't.
Yeah, and shameless plug time. So as part of our commitment to being an open loop industry, we have two kind of things that we're doing at the moment. So one is the secret club of Advertising Rebels, where clients come and talk about their experiences with different providers. So you're not getting the sales pitch, you're getting the warts and all experience. And epically sold out for the next one, but keep an eye on that for the upcoming ones. But we've also actually created a book off the back of the podcast program called How to Make It in Marketing. And this is great for anyone, but it is also for kind of new people into the industry, up and comers, and it's got amazing advice from all sorts of people across the industry, clients, marketeers, media experts, tech, boards, loads of different things. So you can actually give a little free download to that, and give it to you at the end as well. But we're really, really keen to kind of open out our knowledge as much as possible and keep sharing that, because if we do that as an industry, we're all going to get better, both internally and externally.
Brilliant. Thank you, Amy Wright.